Hey there, have you ever wondered how can I get my word out into the world in a way that's effective and attracts people to me? Well, you might be missing an opportunity that is right in front of you. And that's what we're going to talk about today when we talk about guesting on other people's platforms to get in front of their audiences and to build your business. Hi, I'm Meg Rentschler. I'm the host of the Star Coach Show, and you are at Tuesday Tips. Each Tuesday afternoon, I go live to share with you something to think about, a new way of doing things, to either build your skills as a coach, build your confidence as a coach, or build your business as a coach. And often it's all of those things together. So today we are leaning into the concept of guesting on other people's platforms in a way to provide value and build your know, like, and trust factor. So, what in the world am I talking about when I'm focused on this concept of guesting? Why would we want to do that? Well, there are many people who have created platforms, whether it's a podcast, a blog, a radio show, even lives that they do on their YouTube channel, that they're looking for guests to join them because it can be a win-win situation. On the one hand, me as a podcast host, I know that I'm putting out a new podcast every single week. So in that, yes, I do my solo shows and I love bringing my own content forward. I also love spotlighting other people on my show so that my audience gets the value of what they're bringing forward. And I get the benefit of being able to supply my audience with content, but it's not always content that I am creating outside of the partnership of that podcast. Now, the other side of that is, as a podcast host, I love being on other people's podcasts. I love guesting myself. And the reason I love to guest is that I've gotten really clear about who my audience is and what I want to offer, and being able to connect with other podcast hosts or bloggers or people who are running YouTube channels. Being able to get in front of their audiences allows me to bring value forward and access their audience. So it's definitely a win-win. Now, here's some things to think about if you're thinking about guesting. Now, there is actually so much to think about if you're thinking about guesting that I've created a giveaway for you that is focused on podcast guesting, but I will tell you that whether you are guesting on a podcast, doing a blog for somebody, doing connecting and doing lives with somebody, the concept is the same. And it really starts with, and I know you've heard me say this before. I apologize for sort of repeating myself, but it can't be said enough. If you're going to guest, if you're going to provide your content to someone, it makes sense that you are clear about your message. It is our message that we are providing when we are getting up in front of the audience. Therefore, it begins with, like, who is it that you want to be speaking to? Who is your ideal client? When we realize who it is that we want to talk to, then we can better identify who has platforms that are in front of my ideal audience. And when you're clear about who your audience is, you can also get clear about what it is that they're interested in learning about, so you can get really clear about your talking points. When I am reaching out to be on somebody else's podcast, I'm letting them know here's what my expertise is. Here are the topics that I like to talk about. Does that resonate with your audience? Is that something that your audience would like to learn about? Often, I am talking with other hosts to say, who is your audience? And what do they most want to learn about so that I can pull from my repertoire of what I talk about, what my key delivery messaging is, and we can determine, does it fit? Now, when the reason why I'm starting with this aspect of I'm challenging you to get clear about your messaging, because it is in that messaging that you are going to attract people who want to share their platforms with you, because that messaging, that understanding of here's a value that I can bring to this audience, that host or author who's collaborating with you on that, they want that message in front of their audience. But if you're all fuzzy and unclear, that's not going to be either attractive to the person whose platform you're trying to get on or to their audience. And we want it to be a win-win on both sides of that. So why guest? We guest because it puts you in front of an audience. And this is the other deal. When you're guesting on somebody else's platform, that says to their audience who knows, likes, and trusts them that they trust you. So there is a built-in element of credibility that comes when you get invited to be on someone's show. That's how come when I host, I make I I basically say, to people who reach out to me to be on the show, first we vet that because we have a lot of people who want to be on the show, and I'm super appreciative of that. Super appreciative of how many people want to be on the show. I just can't have everybody who wants to be on the show. But once we sort of vet people and determine whether it's somebody we want to extend an invitation, we're extending an invitation for an exploratory call. Because like I said, I'm protective of my audience, and other hosts are protective of their audiences. Like, are you a good fit for my audience? So one of the things that I do in my exploratory calls is I say, I want to tell you about who my audience is. This is who my audience is. Is that even somebody that you want to get in front of? Because if it's not a win-win for my guests, then they're not going to be excited and pumped to be in front of my audience. And I want everybody who gets in front of my audience to be excited and pumped. So in that, we kind of start with, this is who my audience is. And I would encourage you, as you reach out, to determine, could we do a Facebook Live together? Could could I come on your YouTube channel with you? Could I offer an article for your blog? Many bloggers accept guest blog posts. So whether, what's your medium? Do you like to talk? Do you like to get in front of the video? Do you prefer to write? Like, what is your medium? Because there are very likely guest opportunities, whether it's writing, talking on audio, or getting in front of the video. And in that, when you're clear about what your medium is, and then you're clear about who your audience is, then you need to get clear about your messaging. And the reason why I picked this Tuesday tips for today is I really believe in this. I believe that a great way for you to get traction, visibility, begin to build your credibility, build your business through talking, through sharing, through writing, messaging, getting your message out. Well, it also happens to be the topic of our show for tomorrow. So every Wednesday morning, a brand new Star Coach episode goes live. And tomorrow, I have this fabulous business coach, Jason Moss, coming on, and we're talking about 8 core beliefs that go into our messaging. So, what we're talking about today, and especially if you pick up the guide and the workbook that I just put into the chat, putting those together along with Jason's message tomorrow about what we need to do to get really clear in our messaging so that we're attracting the right people. He's talking about the 8 core beliefs that we connect to through the audience to build our following. It's a super good episode. I can't wait to share it with you. And that goes live tomorrow, Wednesday, March 5th. Okay, so we want to get clear about who we might want to reach out to and who their audience is and if that aligns with our audience. We also want to get clear about our messaging. So what does that audience, who does your ideal audience and what do they want to hear? Another element of that, which is a little bit of a tweak, is what do they need to hear? What do you know to be true, or what value can you share with them that helps solve an issue for them, that helps remove a barrier, that helps them think about something differently or move forward on something that you know might be in their way? That's the key element to understanding who we're talking to and knowing our own messaging so that we can create a clear, concise, strong message so that when we are a guest on a podcast, doing a live with somebody, writing a blog post, we can get that message through very clear. Now, another element of that is that we want to kind of practice those talking points. We want to be able to, especially if you're in an interview, you want to be able to know your stuff well enough that you can pivot to wherever the host is asking questions, that you can be in that conversation in a way that's fluid and natural and confident. So I would encourage you to kind of practice, determine what those talking points are, and then practice them. Get a familiar enough with them so that it's natural for you, and you're not going to be like deer in the headlights if something comes up. Another tip regarding being a guest and really kind of knocking it out of the park as a guest is you want to know the platform that you are reaching out to. So listen to other things that the host has put out or read them if it's a blog. Really explore what people are saying, what the comments are, and then ask questions. How can I provide the most value to your audience? Another thing that I would encourage you to ask and have available is a giveaway. Does the host, whether the host of the blog, the host of the podcast, the host of the YouTube channel, do they allow you to provide a giveaway to their audience? If they do, you want to have that giveaway ready. Have it all set up in whatever platform you use to distribute it. So I use Kajabi. If I'm going to do a giveaway, the giveaway that I put in the in the comments for you, that is an incredible guide to be an irresistible guest, doing many of the things in much deeper level than what we're talking about today, is hosted on Kajabi. That means that in order to provide you that link, I needed to create a giveaway in Kajabi with an opt-in page and a thank you page for you and a way for you to download it. Those are just things to be thinking about, because if in fact you do have the opportunity to get in front of somebody's audience and they're good with you providing a value add through a giveaway, that you're offering that additional value to their audience, you want to be able to be ready with it so that it gives that extra connection for you and the audience. And then the final thing that I'm going to say, because I really am trying to keep these to 20 minutes or less with my Tuesday tips, is be a good guest by whenever it publishes or airs, or, if right after it goes live, promote it. Yes, this host is putting you in front of their audience. But the other side of that is that you are sharing their platform with your audience. So I was just on and of course, all of a sudden, the name of it just completely left me. I was just on another podcast, and I've been on LinkedIn and Facebook today talking about this podcast that all of a sudden, for some reason, I can't remember the name of it. It's Sarah Walton's podcast, and in that, sharing a little bit about what I talked about and what we talked about, and inviting people to like her show and to follow her show because it's a great show. So yes, she gave me the benefit of getting in front of her audience, and she's been on my podcast. I adored sharing her stuff in front of my audience. But part of being a great guest is being in that place of sharing and letting people know and putting eyes on whatever that content is. And the host is going to appreciate that. It doesn't matter if you have a small audience or a big audience. If you have a LinkedIn account and a Facebook account and you say, I was just on this podcast and I loved it, and this is what we talked about and this is what we did, it's going to ripple effect. It's going to give you additional visibility and give that host's platform that visibility as well. So one more thing, if you're sitting there saying, I don't know anybody who has a podcast or a guest blog, or you're like, I don't know how to do that. First of all, Google is your friend. Do some Googling, exploring, wondering, who has, you might Google guest blogging. You might, once you determine who your ideal audience is, Google who has podcasts that focus on leadership, that focus on parenting, that focus on wellness, whatever that is. But the other side of that is you could begin by linking up with a friend. Maybe you have a friend through an ICF chapter, or that you met in coaching school, or that you were just introduced to through a networking event. Somebody who has a similar alignment, but not the exact same, something that you complement one another. Well, get with that person, come up with some talking points, and do a Facebook Live on their Facebook, and then do, a Facebook Live on your Facebook, or a LinkedIn Live, or on Instagram. But jump on together and invite everybody that you each know. So there's lots of different ways to guest on each other's platforms and and begin maybe a little smaller than maybe that would make you comfortable. Like I could do it smaller. I could do it initially with a friend or with somebody who also just kind of wants to get out there, pick a topic, advertise it. The great thing about going live on platforms is that they advertise it for you. As a matter of fact, when I hopped on live with you 20 minutes ago, my phone flashed that Meg Rentschler is going live on on the Star Coach YouTube channel. So guest. Think about guesting. Think about how that's going to increase your credibility, your visibility, and your reach. And grab the free guide that I have in the comments, because what I will tell you about that is that how I put that together was thinking about, what do I look for as a host of a top-rated podcast? What attracts me to guests who are wanting to be on my show, and what makes my life easier, as well as allows me to bring their wisdom onto my show. That's what I put together in that guide. I'm proud of it. It's a workbook that you can actually get your work done in there and really become an irresistible guest. So, new Star Coach show goes live tomorrow. Jason Moss is my guest. We're talking about 8 core beliefs that are going to influence your messaging and really attract clients to you. When you're clear about your messaging, you can use it in being a guest for different things and really getting your work into the world. If you like what we do at the Star Coach Show, take a minute and subscribe. If you're watching me on YouTube right now, please hit that subscribe button. Would love to be able to give you notices when I am jumping on live and all the extras that we have on the Star Coach YouTube channel. Until next week, this is Meg Rentschler wishing you the very best for your success. Be kind to yourself. Be kind to others. We'll see you next week.